it can't be done if all you're doing is trying to buy renewable energy from wind farms in Idaho or concentrated solar in the Mojave Desert. There ain't that much renewable energy around right now. There's lots of good ideas, but there's not much to buy in the open market. And what little there is at a premium, costs more. There's no way even well-intentioned ratepayers like myself and RIN are going to pay 20, 30, 40% more for cleaner energy if that's the best that the CCA can do. So unless we're able to get a competitive price delivered to the door, maybe a little bit more, but not too much, and with a long-term plan for bringing it back in line with what PG&E is starting now, it's going to fail. People are going to opt out. And that was part of why this thing went through. You're not locked in. It's just until you want to opt out. So, and whole towns can opt out. So if we don't get it together, and the only way to do this is to have a really aggressive energy efficiency building retrofit program going on simultaneous to large, massive building of infrastructure, local solar generation going on, and weaning ourselves of the grid. So basically Marin County and Sonoma County taking control of our own energy reduction and production and making it be competitive. So that's why Marin is really focused on Sonoma. How are you doing your building retrofit? How do you make it work? How do you reduce your need for energy in the first place and make it work? Now similarly, all the North Bay is a very active, right now we got East Bay, Berkeley, Oakland competing, San Francisco competing. San Jose had the audacity to come up to Berkeley and at a meeting at UC Berkeley say, San Jose is the greenest city in the Bay Area. You can imagine how the people in Berkeley felt about that. But what it meant was the town council, the city council, actually adopted some goals that were a little bit more ambitious than what Berkeley had done at that point. That's great, but then are they going to be able to produce and follow through on it? And this is the challenge that every municipality and even the best intended politicians have. Okay, we want to do this, but how do we do it right? And that's the nuts and bolts of what we're talking about here today, and the kind of training and ramping up on a huge scale of having the people to know what's needed building by building, to be able to do it, be able to maintain the quality, be able to deliver in the end. Larger scheme. California, we're really lucky we're in California. California in many ways leads the nations on a lot of things, auto emissions being another example. Okay, Title 24, what the changes that our California Energy Commission make in Title 24 reverberate across the country. Okay, they affect a lot of other states. Let's not get too swell-headed though, because there are other states that are doing really good things in Texas, in New York, and other places as well, and those are models to look at as well. Yeah, and they're more motivated because, exactly. So in a way, we're really lucky. We can make a really good showing without that much effort, but that's good. It needs to be done. If we can reduce huge quantities of gas consumption and electricity consumption here and say this is how to do it, then it's going to be a model for others too. And it's, you know how it is. It's like, you hear about these things and at some point it really catches on and then it goes wildfire. And what we want to do is make sure we're really ready that when it goes like wildfire, we're controlling the fire and it's not burning us. And we're not winding us, spending a lot of money and not having much to show for it. And the unfortunate thing about Sonoma is that when this program was put in place, as I understand it, the county supervisors felt that there weren't enough qualified people to do the building by building ratings and be able to say what needs to be done. So they hedged on requiring that. Because they hedged, when Liz has been signing people on board to do it's a combined energy retrofit / renewable program, the first $5 million went out the door for mainly commercial solar PV systems, and none of it went out the door for energy retrofits. We got started on the wrong foot. Now we got to get back and get the loading order, get the energy retrofit first, and then the solar being appropriately sized.
But I'm still confused by what Liz said, was that she's currently referring to the Energy Commission's website and the 3 existing HERS providers. And this class wouldn't give you the skills to be a HERS rater. It wouldn't be a HERS rater. So is CBPCA going to continue to do HERS training and do some in Sonoma County? And if so, has that been scheduled? Is that coming?
CBPCA has been doing HERS training, and it's expanding its HERS trainings, and it's adding another stronger building performance component to get a little of this in there, so that not only is CBPCA training hearse raters, but we're training hearse raters who have at least the beginnings of an understanding of how a building works, and encouraging all those people to learn a whole lot more about the whole house, how it performs.
Okay, so the green home energy upgrade is not a new marketing term that's going to be used to oppose HERS rating.
No.
HERS rating is still going to be a HERS.
HERS rating is still mandated by the state, and they're about to launch the HERS 2, HERS Phase 2, which you probably heard about, which it's not clear exactly what that means, and I'm afraid that part of it is going to be breaking things up into more small pieces and making it more complicated.
It's been specified, but it's been through a public hearing process,
yeah.
And it's been detailed in government regulations, and it's been out there for public comment for over a year.
Yeah. And it's ready to launch, but I think they bumped it back to go along with the Title 24, which is now the end of the year. Okay, so we're getting 2008 Title 24, going to be launching at the beginning of 2010. So we're only a year behind. But anyhow, the point is that HERS is a very useful tool. It's going to be required, so there can be a lot of work for HERS raters, a lot more HERS raters needed. But what I want to make sure, to the extent I can, is that anybody who's going for that HERS certification realize that there's a lot more to understand about how buildings operate, and there's a much broader role for HERS raters to play.
So if I'm already a HERS rater,
yep,
certified by both CalCerts and Cheers, if I were to take the first 3 days of training from CBPCA, I believe I'd be able to use the CBPCA logo at that point. Is that true?
I'm not sure. You'd have to check that with them.
Okay. Would I get essentially just a refresher on the stuff I've already learned as a HERS rater, or would I have to take more days to be able to really get to the level you're talking about?
Okay, I did my HERS training with Cheers. There wasn't a whole lot of overlap between what I learned to become a HERS rater and what I learned even in the first day or two of the CBPCA Green Home Energy Upgrade training, which is on building performance. So I urge you to do the Green Home Energy Upgrade, which is focusing on nuts and bolts on how the whole house works. And I urge you not just do the first 3 days, but I'll bet you lunch.
Contractor is the other thing.
That doesn't, you have to be a contractor, okay? I'm not contracting myself anymore either. I let go of my contracting business. I'm working as a consultant. But I'll bet you after the first 3 days, you'll want to continue to the next 3 days, because then you're going to be able to roll up your sleeves and get involved in working on an actual house. And that's where all the classroom information starts to make sense, because your head is just going to be spinning with information. Mine still is, okay? The amount of stuff that you're wanting to keep track of. And then to actually go and work on a real live house, figure out how it works, how it doesn't work, pull this all together, prepare a report that you can deliver to a homeowner who may not have the background of Liz Yeager, but just, you know, Jane Doe homeowner, explain to them in simple terms how their house could be functioning better, what it would take. And then the reason why we left the level 3 and the BPI certification for 2 months later, September, is because you need more experience. And what I did is I volunteered to work with other people doing this kind of performance testing, Kevin Beck and others. And there's no substitute for that, to really get familiar with the equipment and how it's used and how you apply it in different situations. And then get to the point where, okay, I'm ready to go ahead and be tested on this in a real field situation. And then get that stamp of approval from BPI. And that BPI really stands out as being not just statewide, but a nationwide level of excellence that you've really conveyed a considerable time and effort to maintaining, to mastering this field. Yes, Rick?
The BPI certification is not just for contractors either. I think
No.
a lot of people misunderstand it. The BPI analyst, for instance, is a lot of HERS raters and energy consultants get that certification because it is such a national recognized benchmark.
Yeah, and Paul was saying earlier that some municipalities, I think Southern California, are actually requiring to work in these programs that you be BPI certified. It definitely shows that not only did I jump through the hoops to get my certificate, but I actually jumped through a whole bunch more hoops to really learn what this is about. Yeah.
Somebody mentioned that with the field tests there were different categories.
There are.